ounces for like $3, so I'm not gonna complain.
Oh, I need to pull up our Twitter, social, the tweets. I need someone to answer some questions this time. Hey, are we live, Drew?
We're live.
Okay.
Sometimes I forget, okay.
So do you guys notice?
Screw this up.
We have a dude that's like tweeting at us
Talking
in
to us?
grad. That's cool.
It's bona fide. It's real.
Freddie.
Well, that's why I couldn't hear you.
Remember the Freddie guy?
Freddie.
So Freddie said the other day, just got into podcasts and found yours and really like it. Said it's short though.
Yeah, he wanted it to be an extra half hour.
That's long.
Dang.
Although we could easily do
We
another
could.
half
We
hour.
could.
I mean, at the rate that we typically go, like a half hour extra would probably be helpful to.
Isn't this cute how our drinks signify us? Because we have a thermos of Sprite and a tall boy Mountain Dew.
That's really, really funny. That's really, really funny.
All right.
Should I product placement now?
Oh, I can't even
So-
see this.
Shepherd.
Yeah, don't respond to that.
I know, right? Are we live?
We're live.
Oh, okay. I should probably stop making hideous faces in the camera now.
Seriously, camera?
If I open my eyes wide enough, you can see the whites of my eyes.
Oh, was our camera in the shot?
No, I couldn't see through it to see the monitor.
Camera's like, you're screwing up my
Child
shot.
upstairs.
Totally dark, right? I fixed it. How's that?
Legion.
Take camera one. Is that better? I'll just lean forward. Check that out. I've got control of graphics from down here.
Legit.
Wow. Ready? Let me see if I can read this one. Except for that was supposed to disappear. Cam, you ready on this? Because you're ready to go. She's already switching. Yep, magic has begun, my friend.
Are we gonna hear that reverberating volume? I can go turn it down.
I didn't do anything in the news because I'm just skimming them now. I don't really have anything to say about it because I don't have a PS4. I know. My dad says he got me something I've always wanted, and I'm pretty sure it's a bike rack.
Nice.
But
That's a good one.
I don't want a bike rack anymore. Hello.
Hey, what's up? This is Jeffrey. And
I'm Rachel.
This is Rachel.
Hello.
And
I'm
we're
typing.
talking. And apparently we're live on the interwebs. So I'm gonna post that up here real quick.
And we're going to post on the world of Twitter, and
Yeah.
sometimes I like to pretend that the little guy on Drew's laptop is actually Drew. Under the tree with the spear.
Like a magnanimous
Like,
lone
it's-
survivor.
My favorite part about that thing is the sheep
We
goat
should use
in
that
the
as our
branches.
transition.
I know.
You could be like,
Lone survivor.
he's just a lone person surviving next to a tree. Then we get a tight shot of it, and then I could be like, segue. So what is this page that we're streaming on?
WSU Studio 76/live. I think I can hear it.
Distraught.
That's about what it is.
All right, live stream. I see us. Something's happening on there.
I'm telling you, it was super easy.
KT, when you get a second, check those audio levels. Tell me if they're any better. I think they're better. I had multiple mics
Do I look like I'm smiling?
muted. Just a little lags. All right. Where is he? I don't know. He must be on somewhere. said the audio was really bad on the stream, so I just want to make sure that I cleaned it up. I had you guys muted quite a bit.
Okay.
I don't know why. So now that I've turned that off and just upstairs, I think it's
Good,
better.
because I'm going to be coughing excessively.
They gotta tell me we're good. Nice work on the stream up there, Bam. That's right. 7-year-old Switch day.
Rachel's the latest casualty of the mucus war.
Yes. Is that what? Yeah, it's awful sauce. Oh yeah, I was gonna have you cue my stuff. That's why I was there.
KT says, okay, they sound better.
Okay, then we're gonna roll on this. If you're satisfied, I'm satisfied. This dance is gonna happen.
Dance of the podcast. Going live now. Hashtag retweeting. Also gonna retweet this picture of this cute little kid.
I love retweet day.
Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I bet everyone that knows this is like, come on!
I heard you already.
I had someone earlier this week be like, I didn't realize you were that big of a nerd. You like post things about video games and stuff. I was like, yeah?
Jared Christensen always gets mad at me. He was like, everyone gets mad that I post sports stuff, but have you seen how much crap that you guys post every day? Oh my gosh, I'm still seeing Comic-Con stuff.
That's really funny.
The anger.
I know.
Jeez.
Oh, sports fans.
You sporting supporters.
What losers.
Jeff, at your leisure. Oh wait, no, I do the intro first, don't I? The intro music, and then we go into it. All right, music's up. Well, it's not up. It's gonna be up soon.
That's my stretch. Does everyone want to see my sunburn?
WSU studio. Kind of just show the
That's
world.
my red sunburn.
Want to see my tan?
Let's just show them everything.
Kidding. Let's just go.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 13 of the LittleBigKast.
Good morning.
Hello.
My name's Jeff. With me today,
I'm Drew. I'm here.
I'm sick, but also known as Rachel.
Welcome.
we have
I
Drew,
know.
Sick, and Rachel. So episode 13.
Wow, yes.
That's a lot,
Doing
and I'm
good.
pretty pumped. We're doing good. We're on a good roll.
I hope it's a
Teenagers
lucky
now.
one. Yeah, right?
know.
I hope
I
it's
know.
lucky.
We're officially in our teens, so we get to be reckless for the next, 7 podcasts?
Yeah, hey.
That's
Sweet.
nice.
Darn, should
We
have
get to
known
be
that
young
one.
and reckless for 7 more. Then we got to act like professionals and go to college. Anyway,
No, I've been there. There's
So
no-
excited.
No, it's
dude,
still reckless.
Yeah,
It's still reckless.
I feel like. So we had a conversation on Twitter or on Facebook the other day about like how we still feel like we're 8 years old, right? That was the thing that happened.
Yep.
I feel like I've been 9 now for 20 years.
This is good, right? That's a healthy lifestyle.
Like,
That is.
is it?
It's A-okay.
Is it as productive as it should be?
Yes, oh yeah.
Because like I'm happy with it, but I also worry sometimes that I'm not being as productive as I feel like I should feel like, oh, I'm like a mature adult, but I still.
No one wants that.
I don't think I felt that until I had 3 kids. Like it took a lot of responsibility.
Because I have 1 kid,
right, but it took
and
a
I'm
lot.
Two more
still
to
like,
go.
I'm still like, I'd rather play a game.
It might be at the point when your
just don't have
kids
a choice.
start like pointing at things that you're like you're not supposed to know that or say that. Then you go, holy crap, I am in charge.
when they start using bad words.
Yeah,
You're
it's
like,
like,
children,
wait.
it's apparent that I need to be a parent now.
That's about the time.
So,
Yes.
cool. Well, we've got a great show for you today. We've got a lot of stuff going on, and I don't know about you guys, but I did a lot of crap this week, so let's just jump into it. Who wants to go first?
You never go first. Why don't you go first?
Me go
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It was a busy week.
Good.
So,
Your
I'm
list
just
is
gonna go down the
obviously the
list.
longest. Let's go.
Saw X-Men. Was that Days of Future Past or something? That was awesome.
I was gonna say I've heard good things.
I really loved it. I thought the way that it was put together was fantastic. I was a little bit confused like, I feel like within the Marvel universe, you can kind of get away with having the past be whatever you wanted it to be. Like the other parts or episodes of the X-Men series can be whatever you want them to be, right? Because in this one, Xavier's alive.
Isn't
modern day, like in the reality that exists at the beginning of the show, where with X3, he died, right? Like he was obliterated by Phoenix.
I don't know.
So anyway,
There's so many of
they
them.
had like a funeral for him in
There's,
X3, the one where Wolverine stabs Jean Grey and like she dies and he's crying and it's really sad, but like Professor died, right? Because she tore him to pieces.
But then he dies again. I don't know.
So in this one, he's alive, and that was something that, for me at first, I was like, this is kind of weird that he's alive, but then I was like, you know what? That's what's great about storytelling is every director can tell their own story and do their own thing, because there were elements of X3, well, there were elements of the original trilogy throughout the entire show, but
Chat room says, by the way, chat room says, read the comic series and the teaser at the end of X3.
Oh.
So maybe there's something in there that opened this up for you. I don't know.
Thanks, KT, for correcting me. I'm just saying, in the movie, as it was made, the 2.5 hour X3,
Maybe they're more connected
Xavier
than we
dies.
thought.
So, I loved it. I thought it was great. I
the
drank
comic
some
book.
pearl milk tea. I almost puked on the pearls. I
They're
kind
little
of have
bobas, if you don't know what pearls are.
Bobas, little
They're-
tapioca
yeah.
balls.
They're little tapioca balls that go in a delicious shake. The
Yeah, no, I
shake
love
is
them.
delicious.
I
I
love
love it. The tea is great. Like those elements of the drink, fantastic. The little pearls are like
Delicious.
they're like little loogies
No,
that you have
no.
to force down.
I love it. I love them.
And
They're
if
like
it were
little-
if it were even 1 or 2, like or like 5 or 10, I'm cool with that. But like
These guys stack it
a
up.
quarter of my drink was
Extra.
these little bobas,
Yeah.
and I
One
was
in
like,
every sip.
"Ah, no, this is too much." Like I was like getting mouthfuls, and I also kind of have a problem with the word pearls.
You just don't like.
I don't like that word.
Okay,
Like
okay.
there's so many weird connotations with
Jeff
that
doesn't like
word.
little black
and
balls.
I just for whatever reason it's just weird to me. Anyway,
I love them. I love the mango flavor.
in the gaming world,
Yes.
I finished Child of
Mango's
Light.
good. I like
Yes,
I
tarot.
loved it. Child of Light was fantastic. And one of the things that I thought was really cool when I beat it, I took a screenshot, I posted on Twitter,
I saw that. It was a
and
beautiful
I got
shot.
favorited by the lead writer of the game, which I thought was really cool, and I think speaks to the level of care that was put into the game.
I'm only like maybe like an hour into it, and I'm loving it.
So
it's
right,
enjoyable.
and so one of the things that's so great about the game is that for lack of a better way of explaining it, I feel like the creators put a lot of themselves and like a lot of heart into the game. Like you can tell it's a game that was really cared about and probably had to be fought for throughout the entire. I mean, how many games like this does Ubisoft put out? Right?
Question,
Like,
yeah.
This is a very strange game for Ubisoft, who's putting out Assassin's Creeds and Watch Dogs, like
true.
all these
It's true.
huge AAA games, to put out a small, artistic
Very
indie
yeah.
game.
Beautiful.
It's
But beautiful in a different way, because Watch Dogs is beautiful from what we've seen.
right
Like great graphics, but this had this like
artistry
pastel-ish
to it that
art-
just
yeah.
doesn't exist
Watercolor.
in their other games.
Love it.
And so I felt like these people put a lot of their heart into the game, and I really appreciated that. And Jeffrey Yohalem, I think is probably how it's pronounced. He favorited the tweet, which I thought was cool. And I was like, he's the lead writer of this story that I really connected with, in part just because it was so good, but also because I was playing with my daughter, who throughout the entire game was leaning on my arm and talking me through it, and like, oh, we should fight that guy. Let's get him, and
raising
really
a
cared
fighter.
about Aurora, the main character of the game. Like she was concerned for Aurora. She worried about her. She worried about her dad. And so to progress through the game and get to the end with my daughter was something like, it was honestly, playing this game was a special game to me,
I love
because
when
I was able
games
to play
do
with
that.
my daughter.
Very cool.
What else? I have a lot of stuff. Put 3 hours into Transistor.
Which
Transistor is awesome.
looking
So
forward to that.
Sledgehammer Games put
PS4
Transistor
only,
together.
right?
Yeah, it's PS4 and PC only.
Rachel, we got to step up our
I
game.
know, man.
This is seriously-
I
a
lot.
know. I hate
This
my
is
life.
this is a sick game. Very, very cool art style. It's got kind of a cyberpunk feel to it, and just the way that it approaches. Again, Sledgehammer Games put such a heavy emphasis on storytelling, and I'm all about
yep.
story. Like I love interesting and cool and unique storytelling like different ways of storytelling. And with Transistor, the storytelling is happening through a sword.
Narratively.
The
Okay.
sword is narrating the story for you. Like, the entire game opens up and you're looking at a dude with a sword stuck in his chest. And the sword kind of looks like the highway that Thor walks down
The glass.
to transport back to Earth, the
Sparkly
kind of
glass.
crystalline path. Do you know what that's called? KT knows the name of the path, I guarantee it.
Of course he does.
But
Wait, it has a name.
whatever
It's
whatever
Rainbow
that
Road on
path
Mario
is,
Kart.
yeah,
Of
whatever that
course.
path is, it looks just like that. And when the sword talks, it pulsates and it becomes light. And so it opens up the game with the sword calling to your character, whose name is Red. She's a jazz singer, and he's like, Red, I need your help. Pull me out of here. Get me out of here. So Red grabs the sword and pulls her out, and he's talking to Red, like trying to have a conversation with her, and she's not answering. And the sword realizes they took your voice. Like he says, they took your voice, and it like, you can feel the despair in the sword's voice. And one of the things that I'm totally intrigued by and that I love, and we've talked about this on the podcast before, is this idea that you can have a connection with an inanimate object. Right? Like Thomas Was Alone.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
example.
A square.
Was a game that all of us kind of developed these relationships with these inanimate objects. And I feel the same way with the sword and Transistor. One of the ways that they do that is very unique is that they have the voice of the sword come through your controller. And so
That's so
not only
cool.
is Red, your character, holding a sword that's talking to her, but you're holding the thing that's talking to you, which kind of sounds silly, but it just works so perfectly.
Did something.
It just creates kind of a special, cool environment. Like it creates an environment around you almost within the game. Very cool game. Highly, highly recommend it.
KT says the sword of the road is called Bitfrost.
Bitfrost. There you go. Thanks, KT. I
That's
knew
what the
he'd
sword
knew
looks
it.
like. Yep,
Yeah,
totally
I knew
knows.
he'd know it.
And he's in the middle of, he's working right now. He just
course,
swings
forward
over,
too.
answers our questions.
He doesn't even have, it's just there.
It's just knows. Awesome.
Outside of Transistor, I've played some Wolfenstein,
Quick question: how was it comparable to the other game that you were playing?
to Bastion.
Yeah,
Similar as far
or
as
different enough.
Same
like-
narrator.
Similar as far as like the RPG elements are very similar. The way you upgrade is relatively similar, and the narrative-driven story is similar, but everything else is totally different.
Cool.
With Bastion, it kind of feels like an old-school fantasy with a kind of a Western influence to it. This is super cyberpunk, like as cyberpunk as it could get. You're dealing with different machines that are battling you, different kind of variations on human beings. It's very, very cool, futuristic feeling, and the combat is utterly unique. I've never played a game that
That's
had
what I'm
combat similar to this. Outside of that, I've played probably 4 hours of Wolfenstein now.
I totally screwed it up, by the way. It's Bifrost, not Bitfrost.
Aw.
So
Correct you on that too. I'm
Sorry.
sure.
Bitfrost
Yeah,
is cool.
because I
whatever.
screwed up.
Bitfrost,
I like
Bifrost,
Bitfrost
whatever.
sounded way cooler
I
for a
thought
game,
so.
right?
Yeah,
Maybe that's what it is. In the movie, it's Bifrost. In the game, because it's bits.
in real life,
Of
course.
because
Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry.
Bitty
KT,
Frosty.
sorry.
Deal with it, people. So I've been playing Wolfenstein, which as a shooter, a standalone shooter, the first-person shooter
Is it
elements of
next
it aren't that awesome. I mean, they're not revolutionary. They're status quo. They're good. It's fun, but the story is actually very cool. So, Wolfenstein, you start the game while the United States is at war with Germany during World War II, and you are kind of knocked unconscious and left for dead. A family finds you, and you're basically a vegetable. So they put you in a nursing home, you're strapped in a chair, and for 14 years, you're just kind of looking around. And so the time goes really fast, and you're like, Christmas has come, birthdays come, spring comes, Christmases, birthdays, spring, Christmas, birthday, spring, until some Nazis come in and start killing everyone in the nursing home, and your strength comes back, and you like, miraculously, for whatever reason, your strength comes back, and you fight your way out of the nursing home. You save your nurse who's kind of taken care of you through all these years. And you find out that the Nazis won World War II and that the United States had surrendered.
Oh.
And so everything kind of turns into this resistance movement against the Nazis and like fighting back and trying to overthrow a worldwide regime. So story-wise, it's very cool. So I've had a lot of gaming time. I
Yes,
tweaked
you
my
have.
back earlier this week, so I've had an excuse to sit on a couch.
That's what I need to do.
So lots of gaming time. Outside of that, we had a barbecue with the Tyler family.
We did. We partied yesterday.
That was cool. I got sunburned.
Yep.
Surprise, everyone. The redhead
I
got
had
sunburned.
no idea.
I have several like little streaks of where I missed or where I actually got sunscreen.
Yeah,
Like
we
very,
used the little kids' sunscreen. It was like it's like a chapstick.
yeah, it's like
It's
a
the
tube
size of a chapstick. And
and
so
I'm,
all
like,
my
rubbing
kids,
my body.
we've usually used it for like our, the cheeks and the foreheads, but all my kids are.
I pretty much
streaked.
showered
It's
with a glue
hilarious.
stick of sunscreen.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a rub down of sunscreen
And we
like
have
everywhere.
stripes everywhere. It's hilarious.
So
Good
yeah,
times,
my
though.
back's all stripedy and stuff.
Lots of
But
fun.
man, it was fun, and that's what I've been doing. So that's a lot.
Wow.
So
And thank you for joining us for the Jeff Cast. It's
No,
been a
for
wonderful
trying.
morning.
thanks for joining us for
Later.
60 minutes of Jeff. Anyway, what have you guys been doing? Drew.
Me. So I had a little barbecue with the Hawks family. So that was the
Okay.
Hawks is this.
I was not invited.
Oh, yeah, well, a friend of ours, like out of the blue, was just like, "Hey,
Thanks
you
for
guys wanna?"
making it awkward,
Obviously.
Rachel.
Oh,
There-
It wasn't a little
was
big
about the-
cast freaking
Thanks.
barbecue
It was about
minus
the little
Rachel.
girls.
You
It's about the little
know.
girls.
It was about daughters hanging out.
Yeah. So I had somebody that said, "Hey, do you want to?
I should
Do you want
hang out with them.
pool
Give me the
set.
water wings.
Okay. Next time you're in.
They're gonna
Anyway,
outgrow
it was a
me
it was a
soon.
friend, and then he said, "Bring some friends over, grill up some food, have some fun at the pool." So we were there, and while we were there, the guy's brother showed up, and it was kind of like, "Oh, I didn't know other people were gonna come
Yeah.
join it," but it was fine. They were nice, and we had a good time. What else did I do? I finally beat that Jaguar and Guacamole,
Yay.
so that was a big achievement.
How many times did it take?
It was 350 the night, before the
Was it for
show.
real? Like, do you actually have a number for real?
It
Or
was
is this a
seriously between
solid
300.
estimate?
It was between 300 and 350. It was
my
up
gosh.
there. I played that thing so much. And then the next day when it was like middle of the day, like 9 a.m., when I probably shouldn't have been playing games with the kids, I got him in 3 shots. So it was just like the third time. I was like, yes! So that was a big accomplishment. Other than that, I played a lot. I finished Castle of Illusion with the girls. So
Cool.
they loved Mickey. So we,
That's a
again,
Disney game.
yeah,
right?
yeah. It's like Mickey like jumping through and trying to get Minnie back from
Cool.
Miserable. Played a lot of Tomb Raider one night. Peach was tired of writing papers, and she was like, "I'll just sit here and watch you play."
I think that's cool.
And I
that she-
started to fire something up, and she's like, "Do you mind if we play Tomb Raider?" Because she loves the story. She wants to,
Yeah.
even though it's the most intense and the craziest game that we play. So I played that.
It
for
is an
couple hours.
Tomb
Yeah, it's
Raider, like the
nuts.
new Tomb Raider is
It was nuts.
heavy.
Yeah, it's crazy. What else? Oh, played Puppeteer for many hours. Enjoyed that. Kind of fun storyline. I really liked the way that it like everything's play based. You hear
Yeah.
applause, you hear people from the audience, and you see
And you're
these set
looking at a
changes,
stage.
and you're looking at the stage for everything that you're kind of moving back and forth on.
So did the
it's kinda fun.
gameplay jive with you then? Did you
I liked
enjoy
it.
the gameplay?
I liked it, yeah. Because you're a little guy without a head, and if you get hit, your head starts rolling, and you just stop what you're doing and chase your head, which is kind of fun.
Right.
You switch out your heads, and each little head can open up.
Has new
little-
like abilities, right?
Yeah, like abilities that will help you either defeat other people or open up, different portals or different things that you can do. And then your super scissors can like cut you up into the air, so you kind of fly. As long as you're cutting on something, you can go up and up and up. And
Cool.
Anyway, I enjoyed it. I am looking forward to getting back to that one. Man, did a lot. And of course, played Lone Survivor last night. Got through, a little ways
bit
into
of
it,
it.
quite a bit through that. So that was my week.
Oh, hey, we also all saw Godzilla.
We did see Godzilla, which was fun to.
Is
just
it weird
walk
that I have a
away.
hard time saying God, like with a Z, Godzilla? Like, it's more fun to say Godzilla.
I think it's,
Godzilla!
I like to blame my blood.
I was gonna say
for
she's
that.
got an excuse
Yeah.
for that.
Mine's, I mean,
Or Godzilla.
I
Godzilla.
just think it sounds cooler though.
The other
Godzilla.
side of me.
Hello, it's Godzilla. That's funny. Yeah, no, it was good. We did. You and I went as part of White Clouds. Just kind of went and hung out and watched the show.
This wasn't something that.
Right,
it was
this is a whole
it
nother-
wasn't
it's
a
cool.
it
Yeah,
wasn't a
no,
little big
it's fine,
cast thing that
guys,
you weren't invited
whatever.
to.
You
Should
know,
we
I
invite
was
Rachel?
I didn't even
sick
pay for it.
anyways, yeah.
Someone else
I
paid.
can adopt a kid. I'll bring my nephews.
There you go.
That's
what we need.
whatever.
Okay,
There we go.
new plan.
Okay.
Or your man friend.
I know. Yeah, man friend. Whatever. No, I'm telling you. Like, I'm sure, like, Olive will outgrow me within the next 3 years.
She is pretty tall.
She's gonna.
And she's surprisingly brave for her age.
I believe
She
it.
was crazy.
She was like, I want to jump off that thing. I'm like, that's called a diving board, and it's 9 feet deep right there. And she's like,
I've got my wings.
I'm doing it.
I'm
so
going.
I'm going. And the first couple, she wanted me to hold her hand, and then it was like, I got
No
this,
biggie.
Dad. Like, she can't even freaking swim. And I'm like, okay, you got to lay on your back. You got to kick your feet. You got to doggy paddle, do whatever. I'm like trying to teach her This is how you survive in the water. And she's like, I don't care. I just want to jump in. That's all I want to do. I'm not concerned with swimming. I want to jump in the deep end where dad can't touch. So, yeah. She's like weirdly brave,
That's okay. It's those darn video games.
I guess.
Not teaching you violence, teaching you bravery.
That's right, bravery.
I'm okay with that, actually.
Right?
That's a good,
Yeah,
yeah.
like you write a
I'm
paper
cool
on
with
it.
that. There we go. I don't have to anymore.
Lucky for you. Well,
I technically only have one paper left in my entire college career.
how exciting.
Wow.
That's
I'm
pretty
gonna
nice.
make you write one for your independent studies.
Okay.
just because I
That
can.
one actually, right?
What have you been doing?
Me, Z's. Okay, so as you can tell, I've been sick. I got sick at the beginning of the weekend-ish, I guess. Like, so
Happy
it's,
Memorial Day
I know,
weekend.
right? I'm pretty sure that it's summer, so I was like, oh, I can go outside in shorts and a t-shirt.
Right.
Like, no big deal. It was freezing. Like, I'm cold.
Yeah, there were like a weird couple days, right? That
It
were
was
just
so
Yeah, it was
cold.
chilly,
Cold.
breezy. Yeah.
So one day I decided to get together with some pals, sit outside, hang out, just chit chat, catch up. Freezing. Everyone else was fine, but I'm like missing fat parts in my body. So I was like, by 3 hours, I was just cold.
So it's a
And then-
blessing and a curse to
An
be
ice
thin.
cube.
It's awful. It was awful. So
That's why they make hoodies.
right? But I didn't think it's summer. It's
It is
May.
sp-
It's,
it's
the end
summer.
of May. Jeez. So I didn't think it was gonna be a big deal. Anyways, I caught a cold. I was like sneezing, mucus, tissues. My nose was raw. It was awful. I had to go to work too, and that was you can't get your shifts covered on a weekend. So wake up at 6, go to work for 4 hours, come back, take a bath, and sleep.
And you're like rubbing your nose on
And
your arm as you're
all it is.
preparing
Like I
a
had tissues.
frappuccino.
I had tissues in my apron, and so I would have to go back and then just sneeze and then wash my hands and then just go back. And after I finish a drink, go back, do the same thing, sneeze. And
So
then
everyone's
go.
like, why do your hands look all raisiny and stuff? And you're like, it's because I'm sneezing on
my
them
skin's
constantly.
like flaking off. It's because I'm being appropriate.
That's so good. So responsible
Right.
of you.
So, with that being said, I didn't play a whole ton of video games because all I wanted to do was sleep and like eat rice and just go back to sleep. However, I did watch an excessively large amount of BBC.
Nice.
Okay, so
a good choice.
I played Animal Crossing: The Bath, but that's really as much video games as I got in. I was watching Sailor Moon, almost. I knocked a lot of those out.
Nice.
I watched a lot of the new season of Top Gear. I believe
Okay.
it's season 20. Richard Hammond's a man crush of mine. He's just this cute little British man. And then also Doctor Who. I'm almost finished with season 3 on that one.
Certainly
You're
a
pushing
strange, like, British anime kick
I
right
love
now.
the UK, and Sailor Moon's my childhood.
There you go.
So
Cool.
whatever makes you feel good. So yeah, I'm almost finished with season 3 of Doctor Who. I think I have 2 more episodes left, and then I'm on to season 4.
You've been plowing through that. That's good.
However, I might have looked in the future seasons, so I know when the Doctor's going to change.
Dude,
that to
you
myself.
like
I know, I
love
couldn't
spoilers.
help it. It was when the person
No
was with, he's like,
self-control.
I wonder if he changes this season. I'm like, well, let's find out. And so we found out.
Rachel loves
So I know.
spoilers.
She's responsible,
I know,
but she's
Occasionally I feel
Self-control,
bad.
man.
I'm like, oh, Rachel had something spoiled. But then I remember, like,
I'm
She
probably
loves
gonna
that.
look it up
Rachel
myself.
plays, she's like, I need to look ahead to make sure I don't miss anything. Like, you spoil everything you
So
do.
sometimes it happens on accident. And I'm trying to think of sometimes when like it really happened and I was really bummed. But I don't think that's,
yeah. If
I
it's
don't
not
think
letting you down,
that's, I
yeah.
don't-
Yeah, and that's cool.
But we'll see.
I think
But
as
yeah.
long as you can enjoy, like, I'm the kind of person, like, I don't want something spoiled, but I'll still enjoy I'll enjoy the journey
There you go. See?
to
Getting
that
there.
point.
Yeah,
You know what I
that's
mean?
how I feel. Plus,
Enjoy
it's like,
where you're at.
as you mentioned before, it's different for every person. So I don't know.
Totally.
So yeah.
Cool.
So yesterday I was feeling well enough to like go outside finally, and I saw
It's a great day.
Godzilla, and I realized Heisenberg versus giant lizard essentially.
Yeah.
So I realized that the country that gets Godzilla first wins. That's
That
it.
makes sense.
So I think our taxes should go to finding the giant lizard in the sea, and he's the cutest thing ever. That's all I can
You
think
thought he was
about.
cute?
He was like swimming through the river like a.
Yeah, that was kind
I
of
kind
cute.
of thought he looked like
cute.
well, he kind of looks like a giant water dog. Like, he looks like a giant water
with
pit bull.
the pit bull, right?
His
with the
face
smashed up
looked
nose,
like
yeah.
a pit
Yep.
bull.
I can see that.
Yep.
His little
That's true.
mountain spikes.
Yeah,
I don't know.
the
I
spikes
wouldn't
were
mind.
fun.
I
Right?
really liked the beginning of the show when it shows like the footage from the 50s, like all the A-bomb tests
Oh,
that were
mhm,
being done in the Pacific, and then they just put in the spikes cruising by, and like, we tried to destroy it in the 50s. That's what all the bomb tests were about.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Like, I thought that was
That's why
pretty
I
cool.
think we just gotta find him. And one thing I did notice, he didn't have teeth.
Really,
Yeah,
Oh, really?
That's weird.
Yeah, he
He
didn't
have
have teeth.
teeth.
he's like gumming
So he's like
the
a
other
herbivore.
Godzillas.
I know,
He's
right?
like,
He's old. He's very, very old. And he's
Right?
got the blue fire.
That's
That was the
hilarious.
cool,
He's old. He's very
super
old.
Was it super breath?
bad butt Godzilla.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. The blue spiky things going up his back was pretty dope.
Yeah, that I did like that. It was like a little electrical current kind of.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good times.
Cool. Anything else?
Nope, that's it. Just that and just tissues for days.
We've been busy.
Like a mountain of tissues.
Seriously, like piles and piles. And my nose is all flaky. So I don't have sunburns, but I have flaky nose stuff.
Ours is
That's-
gonna go away.
That's pretty bad too.
So mine. It's weird because like I have like nostril piercings too, so it's like
Oh,
can't
but
wear
that-
'em. Can't do them.
Oh,
It's flaky and
interesting.
Yeah, imagine
That's
that
why
would
I
be
never get them.
painful.
That's why I never worry about
Just
getting my
don't do
nose
it.
pierced.
Because of runny noses.
Yeah, I didn't want to have
The
to.
runny
deal with
nose
that.
danger.
it's rough.
Very cool. So, we've all had busy weeks, and the world of news has been fairly busy as well.
It's true. Nice segue.
Like
yeah.
considering,
A
I mean,
lot.
really considering that E3 is coming
It's real
quickly,
close. 2 weeks.
we're still getting a lot of good
That's
news
true. That's
out
true.
of these companies. So we'll kick it over to Drew.
All right, I've got lots of news. I just want to dance to the news music. All right, so the first one, I'm going to call this one the pre-pre, if you will.
Pre.
Yeah, I call it the pre-pre. This one from Engadget. Basically, this is a simple news. Starting with Destiny in September, you'll be able to pre-download your pre-orders. So if you had pre-ordered Watch Dogs, if they are doing this, you could have had it downloaded, ready for your machine, ready for you to play at midnight.
So at
rather than
midnight you
waiting.
can-
Yeah, boom. It's unlocked. You can ride. Rather than waiting for it to be like released and then jump on the server with everybody else trying to download it. So that's the pre-pre that's coming soon. Thoughts on that? Exciting? Seems like a great thing to do.
I think finally. I think
Yeah,
that's
finally is the right word.
that's how I thought it was until I found out it wasn't. Like you said, we couldn't play a game until like 3 in the afternoon. I was
Right,
like,
because
oh, that's cool.
trying
Because
to
it's not
figure it out.
released and then it's a download. So
occasionally you have them that will release through the PSN at midnight, but even then you're getting on at midnight and starting your download.
Right.
So it's kind of weird. Like this one released at 12:01 Eastern Standard Time. So
So you had it at 10.
I was able to start it at 10
What do
last night. I started my download at 10 o'clock. But with Infamous, I couldn't start my download until 1:30. And so
Interesting.
I
Like
thought
they just
with
take turns.
I don't know
with,
if
like
Infamous it
time
was
zones?
Pacific,
Huh.
and then this one was
Huh.
Eastern. I don't know if Infamous just had way more downloads trying to happen at the same time, and so it delayed it.
All right.
But the pre-install is the way to go.
Yeah.
I mean, you throw it on there, and then at midnight, all they have to do is like a server update or a server whatever,
Or just
like
unlock it. boom.
unlock it,
Bam.
ready to go. And you're golden. You can start playing at midnight, which is what you can do if you've got a physical copy
Right.
at a midnight release.
Right.
So
back in the day.
for me, I mean,
did
this
that
is
once.
this is huge for me.
Yeah.
I want to be able to get on there and I want to be able to play these games, which I totally forgot to mention in my
Yeah, you
weekly wrap
did.
up that
I
I
know.
have played like 2.5 hours of Watch Dogs.
He got
So-
up this morning at what? Like
At
5
like 5, yeah.
Just because it was downloaded.
I woke up so that I could play it and talk about it, and then I didn't. So we'll talk about that a little bit later.
All right,
but
we'll get to that.
I think the pre-install thing is a
Excellent.
good move. It's a good direction forward, and I'm excited that it starts with Destiny because that will be pre-ordered as well.
Very cool. All right, news number 2. I've got this one. I call it "Plant Those Seeds," coming from NBC News, but I'm sure many other people announce this. Sony Core aims to step up their sales of the PlayStation 4 console to drive growth in the network services, kind of like their stream games and their video. So in most aspects, Sony is putting profit before sales volume. But on the game side of things, they kind of said, no. This one, we're going to push the consoles out and push that regardless of profitability at this point because it becomes it's a distribution point.
Right.
The more of these consoles that we have out there, what are they at? 7 million? Over 7 million now?
Over 7.
That's what they're trying to increase, and so that they can make more revenue, profit on the network side.
Right.
The streaming, the other things. And I believe in that article it said something like they'd made like a $1.7 billion, and that was like a 70% increase. And so they saw that giant jump in numbers, and they said, okay, more of these out there, bigger that number gets.
Totally.
Any thoughts on that one? Going strong?
No,
Okay.
pretty straightforward.
Straightforward. Next one. Let's see. This one's called Big China Little Gaming. You like that? I'm
That's
clever
pretty
with
witty.
these, yeah.
fairly apt, actually.
Okay. So we mentioned, of course, that Microsoft is going to jump into China once they opened it up, and then we kind of covered that. Sony, of course, has now said that they're going to enter China as well, and that's not surprising. Engadget reporting that Sony is going to work in collaboration. This is the part I love. Work in collaboration with a company called Shanghai Oriental Pearl Culture Development, or the OPCD. And they're going to create 2 new companies in this area. Sony Computer Entertainment Shanghai for the service, for the sales, the licensing, the distribution, and then a second company, love this, Shanghai Oriental Pearl Sony Computer Entertainment Culture Development, which I don't even know what all those letters stand for, but yeah,
Right.
Yeah, the SPCECDGQ. And they're going to presumably handle the manufacturing in this and the sales of the actual console itself. So, news, but it was expected, I think.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it kind of goes both ways. In some ways, yeah, it was expected. In others, Sony has kind of a rough history with China, right? Like
China.
Japan in general has a rough history with China, but from what I've read, like Sony in particular has a pretty rough relationship with the Chinese government, and so I think that's where the OPCD, all these different they're having to go in not necessarily as themselves, but as part of a Chinese corporation.
That makes sense.
It makes sense. I think that Microsoft's essentially doing the same thing. They teamed up with the television service.
Yep. And then, of course, to remember on top of all that, it's not really the Sony or the gaming that we know of. There's going to be a heavy filter on that.
Yeah, it's going to be a very different. It's going to be a completely different world from what you see with Western gaming, or traditional Eastern gaming too, with Japan and stuff. Like at the bottom of this article, it says China originally banned video game consoles in 2000 and moved design to protect Chinese children from wasting their minds.
Right.
And so,
I'm moving to China.
Whether or not they hit it huge and strike gold, or
they may modify some things. I think because it's just pure based on numbers. You've got so many more gamers. They may play a different style of game, but Sony, Microsoft, everybody over there is going to find a way to monopolize that.
Yeah.
So that's coming. All right, here's one that I call Stay the Course. Number 4. Sony's PlayStation 4 already profitable, and it's on course to beat the PS2 success. Took PS3 3 years to actually make a profit.
Right.
Took it that long before it actually was turning the books black. So things are heading in the right direction, and the hope is that the network side of things, again, that kind of the streaming, the online stuff, will increase that profitability and keep it right on track. No news, yeah. Some of these are just solid. All right, this one I think we'll enjoy. This one is called Try It Now, with capital Now. Well, I don't know why I read this in Time magazine, but I'm sure that it was a good it was a good source. Sony says that the private beta program for Sony PlayStation Now has now been opened up for PS4. Before it was only on PS3. They kind of had touted it on the PS4 advertisements and telling everybody that now is in beta and you can register, but it's only in beta if it catches you had to have registered now, but it's still private beta. It's just on the PS4 availability.
But you can register for it, and I assume that they're pulling in new people all the time so that they can make sure that they can handle whatever amount of people are going to be involved in this.
Most betas runs will slowly amp up what they're doing.
Right.
And then towards the end, they just increase it exponentially as they kind of say, okay, server load's handling it. Let's add 1,000. Let's add 2,000. Let's add 10,000, and they just keep going.
We need to make sure that we can handle as many people as can be thrown at this. So yeah.
Yep.
I think it's very cool. I think the PlayStation Now, dude. I think it's such a cool service. Really.
I can't wait for it. I signed up yesterday after I was like, okay, I may be at the bottom of the list, but I'm going to put my name in.
Right. Well, and it creates a backwards compatibility, especially for the PS4, because you can stream, a number of PS3 and PS2 games, and original PlayStation 1 games through it. I think it's super cool.
It's gonna be awesome.
And I love that they're the only people doing it.
Yes.
Like they're kind of pioneering this new.
Something will happen. Xbox will do something.
You think?
Not as good.
Is that an E3 prediction?
I don't think so. I think
maybe we should do some E3 predictions today.
I know. I think it'll be more holiday.
We've talked about doing.
Yeah,
that makes sense. That does make sense.
Right.
We've talked about doing some E3 live commentary. So when Sony does their presser, I think we'll be live somewhere just talking about it, or maybe we'll all just Skype in from our homes or something. So look forward to that because that will be fun. We'll cover that, give you our take on it. All right, last bit of the news here. We called this one Child of Vita.
Child of Vita.
Quick announcement that the Child of Light that we love will be heading to the PS Vita, and that's July 1st, I believe, is when that'll be released. Which I think it'll really, just given the gameplay and given the look of it, will look really good and just play just fine right in your hands. It'll just work.
Yeah. People want to know why I want a Vita so badly, and it's because it's genuinely just like a PS4. You can play PS4 games on the Vita, and sure, they may not look as good, but I mean, you still have that portability, so.
Right.
That's how I see it.
so this is different from remote play, which you can also do
Right.
with Vita. So like, with the Vita,
That's
I mean, you
coming
could play Watch Dogs on Vita,
Right?
which is like that's insane, right? Like to
Right.
think that like on a handheld, I can play this massive open world, you know, RPG that's just huge. Like it's enormous, and you're playing it on this tiny little thing. Child of Light's coming directly to it, so that it's a normal, fully functioning design for the Vita game.
Right.
And honestly, like I can't think of a game better suited for
Just
like a handheld. Like it's this small, compact, beautiful, simple, really greatly story-driven game that I think is going to be perfect
It's
for the Vita platform.
the right package. For our friends of the program, if you'd like to send your donations to Rachel, we should probably just get her a Vita. It's been
I know. Also, birthday's on Saturday, so.
Oh,
it's
this is
definitely-
perfect. Dear friends of the program,
What?
Vita donations are being accepted.
What?
Anyway, that's all
Right.
I've got for news.
Very cool. So we will just then kick it right into new releases if you're good.
Yep.
You good? You're
Yeah,
sick, but you're good?
just loogies.
Okay. Gross.
Hello. Okay, so new releases. May 27th, aka today, aka whenever you listen to this. Watch Dogs came out. Last night.
It's out. It's on
Yeah,
Jeff's
it's
machine.
there.
And he's already playing it.
It's there, so go play it and tell us what you think of it. Ace Combat Infinity also joined it.
Wait, can I tell you what I think of it?
Yeah, perfect segue. Let's hear
I'm
it.
sorry.
It's okay.
Can I?
Go.
You got 3 minutes.
Please,
Go.
Dad.
3 minutes. Okay, 10:09. So, Watch Dogs, so far, man, this game is just it's cool. You start off the game. I don't want to spoil how you get into this, but you're in a baseball stadium and you have to escape, and there are police looking for a suspect. They don't know that it's you. And so you start the game, and the way that you learn kind of this hacking system, it's all through your phone. And anytime you start to hack stuff, you see these little lines of blue, like these digital connection points pop out to all the different things that you can interact with in the
Nice,
world.
yeah.
So anything connected to the internet is connected to your phone. So city drain pipes and like water movement and city street lights and lamps and vending machines that have credit card swipers. All of these things can be connected to your device and can be used to evade, attack, and manipulate the world around you. So if I have a security guard coming towards me and there's a soda machine in the back corner, I can hack that machine and have it just start kicking out soda. And they're like, what the heck? And they turn around and go to investigate it, and I can sneak past them.
Nice.
I can activate their cell phones. I can make their cell phones start freaking out and ringing and doing all this different crap. And so everything is designed around creating an environment for you to be able to move kind of in the shadows. And it's awesome. Like the only complaint I have of the game so far is the driving mechanics feel, it's not that they are bad, they just feel dated, and I feel like they should be better. Like I feel like the car controls should be more fluid. You know, if we can put out GTA, or not GTAs, but Gran Turismos,
Right.
and you know, all of these awesome driving games. Like
Help me drive better.
let's have some good driving mechanics in a game. It's not that they're terrible. I just like on a
You just
scale of
fill
10,
a
I would
gap.
put them at a 6.
Next gen enough?
Everything else though,
Yes.
the shooting mechanics are awesome. I like the inventory that you have created. I like the upgrade system that they have. As you walk down the streets, your cell phone is using, and what's cool too is they kind of tap into this like modern NSA surveillance state that may or may not exist in real life. But he walks
May or may
around and
not
he's
exist.
tapped into the city's own kind of spy network, like that they use to recognize and find people that are breaking the law. So as you walk through the street, you can pull your phone out and start scanning people's faces. And so like occasionally you'll find someone that your phone flags as a potential
Bad guy.
And so you'll hack into their phone and you can read text messages that say, I'm coming over to kill you, or like, you know, but
'Cause that's
I
what
mean,
bad
not,
guys do.
not
They're
as
so
overtly as that, but like arguing with their girlfriend,
BTW.
arguing with their girlfriend that their girlfriend cheated on them, and you wait and see what's going to happen, you know, something like that. And so then you start following this guy because you can't do anything, or you're not supposed to do anything until they've actually committed a crime or are about to commit a crime.
Right.
So as you follow them, you have this meter below them that kind of says they are 20% likely to commit a violent act. They are now 40% likely as they move closer to that target that they've been speaking with. You have people that are drug addicts that they start freaking out because they haven't had a fix in a recent enough time. And so all of these things kind of build up to where, I mean, people on the street can be the bad guy. And you can sit, like, you're a vigilante saving people from the corruption of this city. And it's awesome. So I went 4 minutes.
Not bad.
Not bad. Not bad. Now we talked about
next
streaming
week.
it. We talked about it. Are we doing it?
I'd love to.
Did we set a date? I thought we set a date. I just wasn't sure.
We did. KT couldn't do it.
But we ended up settling on something, didn't we?
No,
Oh, we
KT
never
couldn't
did.
do
Okay.
it.
Well,
And we couldn't
he
get
is, just
stuff.
for those of you that are fans of the KTData.net, he is streaming all night tonight. I don't know
Right.
if this will get up by then, but you missed it if it's up by tomorrow. So he'll show some
watch
stuff,
some.
and I think we want to have the party atmosphere and do it again.
Yeah, we
soon.
should, totally.
So watch for it.
Down.
We'll do that. Do you want me to play the
So,
stinger again?
TBA back to me.
Yeah.
No, I think we're good. So
Sorry. I just,
It was a perfect. It was
you
a good
said
place
let
for
us
it.
know, and I was like, I'll let you know.
It was a good place for it.
Okay, so June 3rd. Wow, May is almost over. So June 3rd, Murdered Soul Suspect. June 10th, Enemy Front. Also had a Training Dragon 2. June 17th is Battle Princess of Arcadia's. Also EA Sports UFC.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Get my swole on.
Get your swole. Okay. June 24th,
Kind of a gross
Atelier.
word too.
I know it is.
Pearls and swole.
Really, mine is Squirt.
Which
That's
was
a bad
squirt?
one too.
Squirt. People come in and they order a latte with 4 squirts of milk. I'm like,
Oh, pumps are I'd much rather
Pumps.
purple.
What's
pump
the?
than
There's
squirt.
I don't know.
moist is kind of a weird one.
moist is kind of a weird one. Also yolk.
Yolk.
Yolk. Yeah, that's not good.
Like egg yolk?
Like egg yolk.
Huh, weird.
Yolk. I'm gonna get yolked. It's like,
Oh,
gross.
yeah, gross. Weird.
Okay,
Anyway.
so Atelier Rorona plus The Alchemist of Arland.
We have so many game names that are just weird to.
You know, I
pronounce.
didn't know there was
You-
so
you
many
handle
like,
it pretty well.
weird games out there.
I didn't
until
either.
I started doing these releases.
Yeah.
There's more than you suspect. The Swapper. I need to stop. Okay, June 24th, The Swapper. Oh, there are 3 coming out on June 25th.
Like swiper, no
Swapper?
swiping?
I don't know. I think
Swapper, no
I
swapping.
didn't even read this one because I didn't
Alright.
see that.
It's a ways off.
Okay, the Swapper, Transformers, probably with Marky Mark. Is that who's
Yeah,
playing the new
yeah.
one?
Just running around in his underwear.
I hope the Funky
I'm
Bunch
curious
gets
to,
back with
I
him.
know. I want to know what
That'd be
happened to LaBouffe. Did he like? I don't even know what happened to him in the previous movie.
I think
know he's
LaBeouf.
retired.
I think LaBeouf is just had a
Cracked out.
hardcore breakdown that he just isn't into anything. Like
Right.
We don't
the
see
dude wears bags on his head and goes to premieres.
Does
Yeah, he put like a bag on his head that said like, "I am not an artist," and he went to a movie premiere for like
something he was
I think
in or
his
somebody
movie
else?
Nymphomaniac that he was in.
Well,
Yeah,
info,
Huh.
yeah.
kind of weird.
Well, he's good for Marky
I know
Mark.
he did a naked music video for Psychoros, like full out like
Everything.
Swinging, swunging. huh?
swinging and swinging
Wow.
around.
Swinging and
Wow.
swung.
LaBouffe. Weird.
Yeah, he's an
Even
interesting cat.
Stevens. Well,
Yeah.
good for him. Actually, he live tweeted his acid trip once.
Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I found it
That
on the
is things I
internet.
did not realize about
That
this.
seems like something Beans would have done.
Right?
Wow.
Plot twist.
Uh,
Anyways, it was a pretty interesting live tweet. Okay, so Transformers and then Valiant Heart, which is another game by Ubisoft.
Cool.
And it looked kind of cool because it was World War II type
So
stuff.
who wins the award for worst name of the week?
Atelier Rorona's my vote.
I like Battle Princess of Arcadia's.
See, and I was gonna say the Swapper. I'm like,
The
that
Swapper,
just,
yeah.
it's just boring. At least the other ones tried.
Rorona. I don't know. Although
Like the
Alchemist.
Swapper, they're
I
just
think-
like, there's like, well, I mean, you swap stuff, so it's a Swapper.
It's like
I don't
Swap
know.
Force. Nice job.
Hoorah!
I'm excited. I am looking forward to some of those. I really want to play Watch Dogs, so I'm coming
I
over to
do
your house.
too. So we just need to live stream it so Rachel can play it.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
down.
that's
Let's do it. We'll figure out a date and we'll get back to everybody.
That's what it was. I know what we finally decided. We finally decided that screw KT, we're going on our own.
Yeah.
That's what we
KT.
decided.
Yeah, KT.
So
Screw you.
when we're done here, let's go set up some gear to see if we have the ability. If we have the ability, we can set a date. that
The
we
Swapper
can-
actually looks kind of cool.
Oh,
It's a
yes?
puzzle game.
I love puzzles.
I know.
Swapping for puzzles.
Stranded
It's just funny because I
It's
think
good.
in a
between the three
damaged
of us,
station.
we have like our own little like niches that we love.
I know,
Yeah.
I think so too.
Like I mean, I like hardcore love puzzles and you know kid-ish games. Well, you love Animal Crossing. That's outside there.
Hey now.
But you love the zombies and you love the battle. The FPS. I mean, there's something about each of us that we have our core.
Oh, we're so cute.
I know, we were totally
We're so
like
cute.
one-
and
Because I get
diverse.
frustrated with the puzzles.
See, I
I
like
don't
get
mind
so
those. I
frustrated
just have
with
to
puzzles.
tutorial the crap out of them.
Or like the
this button.
the guacamole, like
Oh,
X R2
Right, that's like
combo.
that's like
triangle
finger twisting.
R2
Bam,
X
bam, bam.
triangle R2 like
I love it.
my
Rachel-
brain can't like
Yeah. Rachel put in our conversation. She was just like, okay, now I've moved on to R1, R1 triangle, up, left, right.
Yeah, it was
Like,
a stupid jumping
like,
thing.
20
and
minutes later, she's
changing
like,
in
parallel
the tree, right?
universe.
That's what I was talking about.
Oh
that
my
part
gosh.
is so freaking hard.
Like seriously, I had to like use my other hand to hit the triangle button as I'm hitting the R2 button
It's
as I'm
brutal,
hitting the
right?
X button, and then it's like you
Yes,
get the double
yes.
jump.
Yeah.
So then it's like okay, so now it says and then X X.
and you have two
then
walls
go.
that you have to be jumping between, but you have a wall in the
Yep.
center. Yeah,
Yep.
Yep.
that's
so
tough.
I got
That's
the I
fun.
got the combos down though.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
I'm gonna finish that one this week. I feel like I'm so close.
I
It's
need
a
a
great
friend.
game,
I
yeah.
think because you had such a hard time with the Javier.
Oh my god.
I think it's because it's meant to be like a two-player game. So I
Yeah.
So
feel
if you
like
had Tostada with you, with the guacamole guy,
if you die, you spawn in 10 seconds, and
If
then
the
they
other person
break
can
your shell.
survive, yeah.
oh
yeah.
well, then you could.
So then you beast it. So I think it's like meant for two.
Get your
so
get your
I'm
man
s-
friend over, play some
right,
games.
exactly. I'm
Yep.
stuck, so I'm calling my friend and we can beat it together and I don't die 350 times. So yeah, okay. Yeah. What's next?
Anyway, so
So
that
we
was our
do
new releases.
Swapper looks
Where we
cool.
at time
We got
wise?
15 minutes left.
Awesome.
Awesome and perfect, huh?
I have totally
Well, our
taken
indie
over
game
this
will be short.
freaking
Yeah.
podcast today.
I think we can hit them both. Let's do
Yeah,
five
let's do it.
5 and 10.
So we'll jump right into the indie game of the week. Drew's got the music for that.
Do we have any? Oh yeah.
We got the
It's the indie game, the indie game of the week with
Perfect.
my plosives this time.
With
Wow.
Rachel,
That's a
Andrew,
thing.
and Jeff.
Wait, hold on. I got a graphic too. Oh,
It didn't work.
Didn't
It's
work.
okay. Well, moving
Look how
on.
flowy
This
my hair looks.
indie
Oh.
game. It's the indie game. It's the indie game of the week. All right, so take it.
Anyway,
Okay.
Rachel.
Hello. Indie game of the week was Lone Survivor. It was by Superflat Games and Jasper Byron
Burn.
with a Y was the designer. Controls are your typical. Oh, it was an 8-bit game. It was like
It was a retro.
Was
was
it
okay.
even an 8-bit game though?
it was like a 2-bit game.
It was like a 2-bit game for real.
It's true, and it's like I had a bigger screen TV, so when they're like
The blocks.
oblong like that,
Yeah.
I definitely had a hard time reading some of it.
The blocks was
I
the
felt like
blocky.
I felt like I had a hard time. I had a hard time reading everything.
Jeff didn't like the game.
I didn't. Yeah, full disclosure, super flat games. This game fell super flat for me.
Aw.
Oh,
Yeah, that,
how
did you like that?
witty.
Huh? Huh?
It's so
Huh?
witty.
Yeah, it. For me,
So-
honestly, like. So again, I'm jumping in and being loud
course.
because
Well, let's
That's
go through
me.
the
Let's have
controls and the
Okay,
story,
yeah,
and
let's
then
do it.
and then we'll give our
All right,
stuff.
all
You have your own notes, okay? So, the controls are your typical one: D-pad or L stick to move, right? And I think they're called bumpers because they're called bumpers on the Xbox controller. So the right and left bumpers are shortcuts. You
Call
get
it whatever you want, man. Triggers.
I know. Well, triggers are the
Underneath.
flooper ones.
Yeah, okay.
Flooper. That's my word of the day. You
The
get a
squirty
gun.
ones.
Yeah. Gross. You get a gun. Square is your flashlight. It was kind of like an old school version of Outlast. Is almost kind of like you
Very
get a
much so.
flashlight. You have your flashlight's at battery powers. X is your commands, and the usual triangle does something, circle does something. Can't quite remember what it was. So yeah, you start off as this guy in an apartment complex. You have like a sick mask, which is probably something that I need. And you can't really remember anything. As you wake up, you start to realize the world is different in many ways. You find wormholes in the walls that are like smeared with
Yeah. they're-
pixelated blood,
Yeah.
and there's things on the walls and words that you can't read. And then when you leave your apartment complex, you have the bed that you save in, sleep in, typical saving stuff. It was kind of cool because when you would leave a room and you would re-enter the room, it was a completely different room. Like,
Right.
the people that were dead were like dead, and they don't really say that they're zombies, but they're like pretty much zombies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
ugly zombies.
they're the living dead. The game ends up being a psychiatric battle between reality and like your mind and what's really happening. Your essential goal is to leave the city alive, and yeah, that was that. And yeah, you just wander around trying to.
So what did we like from the game? Let's start with likes.
You know I don't love the zombies.
Right.
So what did I like? What did I like?
dot dot dot. Well, I'm gonna start it off.
Yeah,
then. I
you
thought
should start.
I thought it was cool because I didn't think it was gonna be so like puzzly. Because once I started the game, you're in this apartment complex, so I thought it was gonna be very linear and very weird.
Right.
But once you enter like a broken hole in the wall and it's a wormhole and it leads you to
The other side of the apartment complex.
does it?
The
But
one I
does
went
it?
through.
And, and you use
I see what you're
mirrors to
saying.
teleport.
Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, that was another. Okay, yeah.
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 So it's like I don't know. I thought it was kind of I don't know, and I think they did a really good. It's a survival horror game, and I think they did a really decent job because it was kind of scary. There were a couple jumpy parts, and it's like at the beginning of the game they tell you that the best way to play this game is in the dark with the sound turned up all the way and the gamut like 0.
Right.
So I don't know. I didn't think it was that bad.
So everything that you mentioned, those are the things that I liked.
Okay.
I liked the atmosphere. I liked, because I played it when it was dark, and walking through the wormhole, I was creeped out.
Right.
Like, that effect was realized, and
The effect was there.
I mean, it does feel like a creepy game. I just kept feeling like I was taken out of the game anytime I had to read anything, and this is a very read-heavy game.
Right.
Like,
Fair.
there's a ton of stuff that you have to be reading throughout the entire thing. Anytime you pick anything up, anytime you look into your inventory, like, I had a hard time navigating my inventory because it was so pixelated. Like, he didn't go... I didn't feel like it was an 8-bit game. I mean, Scott Pilgrim is an 8-bit game, and I can play that, and I enjoy that. This one, I don't know if it was the color scale that was used, like this weird grayscale.
It was like a rounded retro. I mean, like even the pixelated stuff of being an 8-bit game still had like shading.
That's
to
what I
this.
mean. Is like
There was
it
something
was
that just
so
made it overly soft.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know if they tried so hard to be retro that they overdid it. But for me, I felt like I kept getting taken out of the game because I'm squinting at the screen trying to read my menu. Like trying to figure out like what are these dots that I'm looking
So
at.
I didn't have that problem. I don't know why. I mean, it wasn't. Maybe I got 8-bit eyes. I don't know. I didn't have any
I don't know.
problems.
I mean,
I could see where it would be difficult to read, but on my TV, maybe it's just I was in the perfect placement, but I didn't have trouble
Is
reading
your
or
TV
knowing.
smaller or is it like
50 inch, 55.
that's not? So
But I don't know.
That's
It
weird.
seemed to work just fine for me.
For
I
me-
did when I opened the map. I don't know that there was ever a place to let me like adjust because a lot of games will say like, put the arrows inside the screen before you start.
oh, mine was off the screen.
And mine was off the screen as well, so the bezel like on my screen covered that. But I didn't have a hard time reading.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, it just.
I
I
can
mean,
see
I
where
could
you could,
figure it
though.
out. It was just frustrating.
Yeah, I could see
like,
where you would.
looking at it, like it was not something that was easy to look at even, and that was the problem because I love 8-bit art style. I love old NES games. Like I mean, I grew up playing those games. That's something that for me is like. That's something that I grew up with and have a lot of nostalgia for, and I enjoy those games still today.
Yeah.
Like I still enjoy like the Final Fantasy,
Right.
The original Final Fantasy series and the Marios. For whatever reason, I don't know if it's that they blew the character up, and to do that, they felt like they needed different color variations and different, definition. For me, it just took me out. I don't know.
The thing that took me out was when he would hide in the little crevices. He's wearing a mask, like a surgical mask, but with that 8-bit and the shading.
I didn't know what it was for.
He looked like he was totally just grinning, like he had this
Yeah.
big old grin on his face, like he's just hiding like this the whole time.
I thought the same. When I first turned it on, I was like, "What's this dude's face?"
And
What's going
it's a
on?"
mask, but at the same time, I was just like,
Some
when
kind
I
of
see
evil
him,
face with
I
big
wasn't sure what it
gnashing
was.
teeth.
Just
It
too
wasn't until I
smiley.
read the plot was that it was a surgical mask.
So I don't even know what I don't know that I liked anything.
So
about
for
the
me,
game.
I won't spend another second with that
It
game,
was free, guys. Come on.
It
I
was,
know.
it was.
and I can appreciate that.
Well, I guess what I can appreciate is that this was somebody's homage to what they loved in like the early, like Silent Hill or those other types
Right.
of horror games, and as a homage, it was good. I'll tell you what I did like. Here's what I liked about the game. It gave me this feeling that if I ever wanted to, I could probably code a game. I don't know if that's bad. I just felt like, okay, if this is done as well as it's done and it looks good and people are fans of this, style of gaming, I bet I could probably, with a good year or two of study, figuring out,
Right.
I could pull something off like this. So I guess there was story. It was simple. Like the layout was simple. I felt like there were some places where it was just like the puzzle part almost was like overly puzzle-fied because it was like, go back to this room and it might change. If you go back to this room again, it might change. And so in the different things that you were doing, there's no consistency.
Yeah.
On purpose, right? It was kind of this interesting, intentional, like, part of our puzzle is that it's always changing.
Right.
So part of that kind of got me, but it was the
it was the mirrors and that kind of stuff. It was just kind of this random. And you're right. You get into the psychiatric battle, right? Then it becomes, okay, yes, there is a level of craziness if you are going to be the last person alive and you're looking for survivors. I think there should be a little bit of mentalism there going on.
So what about you, Rachel? Will
You
you
okay,
spend more
Rachel?
time with it?
Maybe when I'm not dying.
Rachel's dying right now.
I feel like it's one of the.
Drink something. I don't know. Do you have a drink?
BRB.
Okay,
Cool.
so she'll get
We'll
some water.
We'll go back to that in a second. I don't know. For me, it ultimately comes down to like, I don't want to be pulled out of. I don't want to feel like I'm being pulled out of a game.
And
or
there were a lot of-
forced
yeah.
to not be just totally enveloped in it.
And-
Particularly with the words, I just kept feeling like, why? Why did he make it so hard to read? Like, I get that it's an 8-bit game,
Yeah.
but make reading simple. Like, I don't
Right,
need
right.
pixelated letters for it to feel like an 8-bit
I
game.
think the other thing that pulled you out, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but maybe it outlasted other games. Granted, I think they're on totally different planes what they're trying to do, so I'm not comparing them. But in the fact that if I'm playing a game and I am, like I have to recharge battery, I have to manually put the battery in, or if I have to
Right.
be aware of how much health I have and where my food is at. Yes, I can eat every 10 minutes in the game if I can watch my bar go down. This was all happening in the background, so the only memo that you got that you were hungry was your own like voice popping up and saying, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I'm starving. And you didn't know like how hungry you were until it started flashing red on the screen. It was like, oh, I'm really hungry. I'll find some squid sticks.
Yeah.
So I don't know. For you, does that take you out of the game or put you in, like having that all happen in the background? Like even that when you get tired. I'm
Yeah,
tired. I
not
need
being
to-
able to know where you're at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That to me, maybe
Because it
that
makes
takes me
it
out of-
difficult for you to plan what you're
Yes,
doing.
I didn't feel like I had full control, and maybe
Right.
that's part of that psychosis. I don't know.
So what about you, Rachel?
You
I
play
definitely
it,
would have liked a health bar. Or
right? Something to let you know.
Just something. No, it was fun. I don't know. I wouldn't prioritize it, but I feel like if I'm feeling like I need to get scared, I'd play it.
Do we dare talk about how far we got? I got out of the building.
Oh,
Really?
you got the furthest.
Yeah.
Did I? You guys didn't get out.
Even further than I did.
I was like,
I didn't use
Jeez.
any of the pills. I felt like because they have pills that will be like, okay, you fall asleep and you wake up and you have ammo back if you lost it. You take one pill and you fall asleep and you wake up and you're, what was the other one? Like you have something like your health is back or something.
do you know how much they charge for this game if you're not a PS Plus and got it free?
It was like $12.99.
Dang.
So my recommendation is to get Transistor for $19. If you want an indie game, that's my that's my recommendation. Rachel, what about you? Yay, nay? She says yay.
I say May.
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 If you're like into survival horror and you feel like it's worth a shot, go for it.
Cool.
Huh.
Drew?
Not into survival horror. Nay.
Right on. So, moving on. So, one of the things that I started thinking about this week, and I wanted to throw it out on the Twitters, was a question about video game characters. Like, who's our favorite characters? I know in this podcast we've talked in the past about what our favorite games were, and why, and characters have been brought into that conversation several times.
Mm-hmm.
But we've never really jumped into, like, who are, like, what characters define, like, what you look for, like, what characters really help you feel like you're immersed in a game or like you make you care about a game. And so we threw the question onto Twitter and we got a couple of replies back. First of all, big shout out to Freddie
Freddie's
at
been
Southern
fantastic.
_mind88. He's been very vocal on the Twitters, and we really appreciate him just stepping up and having a conversation with us. But he said Snake from Metal Gear Solid games and Dante from Devil May Cry. And I asked him, I said, you know, what?
Yeah.
So what made them special? Like, what made them significant? He said, well, they're just sort of straight up badass.
You can identify with that because
Right.
Freddy's badass.
Totally. I feel like they could take. He said, I feel like they could take out a superhero without issues. They need to add like a Godzilla though. Then I'm sold.
Nice.
So, Jordan Weeks at MRJTW
Yeah, he's
said
good on
Solid
Twitch.
Snake. So that's 2 for Snake. For me, I mean, I would agree with that too. I love Solid Snake. I think Solid Snake's sick. What about you guys? Like,
For
who
me,
are
it's
your
not
characters?
The,
I'll
for me,
start
it's
with
not
you guys.
the badass. Like you got to go farther back into my gaming history, so you got to go like other consoles to find my favorites. I feel like I'm gonna be a little bit closer to Rachel's style. Maybe I just it's not the badass.
The
It's like I love
villagers from Animal
Spyro.
Crossing.
I love Spyro the Dragon, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
I love helping him through his levels. Like, that was a fun one for me. The Mega Mans from early on, playing the Mega Mans 1 through like 7, I think I played like when I had the old NES. And the reason why is because I mean, him, it was the tech side. It was like every chance he got, he had something new that he could try out and do. So I enjoyed that. And then I think this one, I don't know, maybe Sora from Kingdom Hearts. I just that story, being able to help him and Disney friends, I think that just tied my love of like Disney and cute plushy things with some badass.
Pretty
He has
cool.
Keyblades, right? I mean, so those are the ones that I really love.
Jeez Louise, man. My head's just like.
Is it every
Okay,
Pokemon you
so
ever caught?
I know, that's what I'm thinking. I'm like,
Is
okay,
it-
stay away from
is-
the Animal Crossing.
Squirrel.
stay away
I was gonna
from
say, is it the
Pokemon, 'cause
parrots
I
that
can't
moved out of
say-
your
I
city?
can't say all of them. No, okay. I miss Frank. Okay, so. No.
Why did you leave me?
Okay, so the first ones that came to my head were Cloud and Squall, mainly because
yeah.
they were the hottest. I mean,
They
from
were-
my view.
they were
oh
hot.
man, jeez. Remind
Remind me of the game because I got their faces.
Final Fantasy,
Okay.
Cloud's Final
The
Fantasy,
Cloud,
but he's
yeah.
also in.
Kingdom Hearts,
Kingdom
yeah,
Hearts, right?
and that's
Yeah, they
where.
run into 'em,
Oh
yep.
man, when he shows up with those big blue eyes and those giant sword, I'm like,
Because
oh,
I was gonna say
take me
I was
away.
gonna say Cloud too. Like
Yeah.
from my first playthrough,
That
of Final
sword.
Fantasy VII.
Sephiroth is an
Sephiroth's
awesome villain too.
Sick too. I cried when he killed. What's her name?
Area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the first time I cried in a video
Oh.
game.
Right.
Like for real.
Your
I don't
first.
blame you, dude.
I was like really upset.
Female wise, it's hard to pick female wise because I don't feel like females have been a strong player until recently. But Yuffie was really cool. Ninja Yuffie, she was really rad. Straying away from Final Fantasy and stuff. Kratos, I think, is the ultimate badass, and he's a family man too.
Yes.
So I
Doing
don't
it
know.
all for the fam.
Right? I was playing God of War and I was like, this man loves his family enough to sell his. I don't know. I thought he was really cool. And then I had more.
For pure sex
but now they're
appeal, who
gone.
do you got?
Oh come on, we already know who that is,
'Cause I'm thinking it's got to be Nathan
Do
Drake.
we?
right?
Yeah, of course,
Drake,
always.
yeah.
Oh, because he's like the real man. I think Kratos is like the imaginary man, the god essentially. But
Of war,
witty,
right?
right? But Nathan Drake's just perfect. I want to
just-
hunt for him. That's what I'm doing.
Nathan Drake is both an adventure and GQ model.
Yes.
true.
Yes.
He's
that's what makes
like
him
the
my favorite.
perfect package, all wrapped in one.
So if you want to sell a
One
game,
beautiful scarf.
That's what it is. Oh, I love it. And then I've always liked the little sisters from BioShock.
That's cool.
I just think they're like
Oh,
a really
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
They're just Mr. Bubbles. I don't know. They're just cute. They're a cool concept. Like you don't play them, well, kind of, sort of, but I don't know.
So I have a couple too. The first thing that I thought of when I put this out there was the Mass Effect characters.
right.
BioWare does such an amazing job at making you care about characters.
some solid story there. Yeah.
Like Shepard, like you like Shepard and you feel connected to Shepard, but more than anything, it's the people that surround Shepard. It's your companions throughout this adventure. Like you, as Shepard, you feel like you can take care of yourself, but especially your teammates. Like they're totally fallible. They have strengths and weaknesses, and
They're
they
real
can
people,
die
Yeah.
in the game. Like, and not be there in the next game. And I put on my list, I put Tali Zora Bashir, who is a Quarian in the game. So this alien species who's had her homeworld overrun by another species called the Geth, which are machines. And the other character I put was Legion, who is a Geth, but he's on your side. And there comes a point in Mass Effect 3 where you have to choose one of them to live and one of them to die. You have to choose
Yeah.
which one lives and dies because they are in conflict with each other. And I really liked both of these characters. I mean, these were my characters that I took on every mission.
Right. That would
And,
be tough.
And dude, I cried when I made my choice and had to watch the person that I chose die. Like, I was seriously upset because over the course of 3 games, I had built a relationship with this person.
That makes sense.
that
I feel bad
that
that I'm not an
to-
emotional gamer. I don't
to-
know.
Like
If
a pet.
I'm never
to,
good at that.
to wipe him out was honestly, it was like physically painful. And I had dreams about it for the next couple nights. Like I was
Oh.
really, I was
Jeff
torn up,
gets
man.
real.
Like I have a passion for storytelling. Like I really, really do. I mean, obviously, as you guys can see, if you're listening to this podcast, I talk a lot. I like to tell stories. I like to be told good stories. And so when I'm told a good story, I let myself be wrapped up in it. I enjoy being wrapped up in a good story. For the same reason, I love Ellie and Joel. Like those 2 characters are fantastic characters, and you know, so spoiler alert, if you haven't played The Last of Us, which you should have already played, Drew hasn't.
I
So
haven't.
spoiler
I was gonna
alert,
say,
Drew.
everyone must have, except
Except
There's
for
a
me.
point.
Except Drew.
There's a point in the game
Got a
where
backlog.
you find out that Ellie is about to die, and for some people, you run into this room and there are these doctors that are about to perform a surgery that will kill her. For some people, they ran in and were like, I don't want to kill you. I just want to save Ellie. And I was like, how dare you
So you just
try
laid
to
him low.
kill Ellie? I killed everyone in the room. You only have to kill one dude. I killed everyone in the room. I was like
Rage.
angry.
Wow.
And just because of what Ellie had gone through, like you as a team had gone through so much
Makes
that
sense.
that I felt like I had to protect her. Going back to Final Fantasy VII with Cloud and Sephiroth, man, what a great villain.
right.
And in the Metal Gear Solid series, I love Solid Snake, but on the villain side, I loved Sniper Wolf. If you played the original Metal Gear Solid, where you're sniping against Sniper Wolf, like that was the first time I had ever played a game where like I was looking through a scope at someone and following them and trying to get them. And when I finally took her out, like I was like, I'm glad she's gone, but I also
I'm gonna
felt like
miss that
remorse
girl.
because she was cool. Like she
Yeah.
was tough. She was like this awesome chick that was this strong female villain, which you don't see very often. So I don't know. Like there are so many games that I feel like have kind of drawn me in, and those games are the ones, like the games where you focus on developing a character that people care about.
Yep.
Are the ones that stick with me the longest.
And I think that's with some of the games that you get to customize your character as you go along. Things like Fable, where choices
Right.
you make create who you are, which makes you even all that more engaged.
right, because you're invested in it now, right?
Yeah, you made those choices to make who you are. so.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, along that line, Cole McGrath from the infamous 1 and 2 was a great character, and you care about him through 1. You make choices, whether people he loves live or die, and it's something that, man, if a company can put together a game that make you care about your character in a way that like you find yourself thinking about that character and like worrying what's gonna happen next, man, you've succeeded.
That's
like
good.
You did it.
that is the.
Quintessential.
I mean, that's
No, I
yeah.
agree. I think
Yeah.
so as well.
Okay,
Because
excellent.
yeah,
That's the pinnacle of like effective gameplay and storytelling like coming together for me.
like we've talked about before, it's like I don't know. People ask me why I play video games, and it's because like it genuinely is just an escape from reality, from everything that goes around, and it's like you
Right.
literally become the game. You become a part of it. And it's
Well,
just
and that's
cool.
what's so cool is it's so immersive. I also enjoy reading books, and books to a certain extent can be incredibly immersive, and you can feel like you're involved in that world. But with video games, like you're actually a character within that world, and
I care about my neighbors, my animal neighbors. I
Yeah.
care
Right.
about them.
Frank!
Frank,
just want to go hold the jukebox outside his.
wherever, whichever
We've
town
hit-
he's in now.
We'll find Frank.
We'll
we
find
hit
Frank
we hit
eventually.
an hour 5.
Hour 5.
Yep.
Then let's wrap it up. Not yet though.
Do what you gotta do.
Hold that thought.
Do what you
So first of all, thank you for joining us for episode 13 of the Little Big Cast.
indeed.
Again, I am Jeff Hawks at Jeff Hawks. To my left is
Rachel Hernandez.
at
PRIT3 Rachel.
Pirate Rachel with a 3 instead of an E. And
At Night 20, I'm Drew Tyler, KNITE20.
feel free to follow us both on our individual pages or on
Both.
at Little Big Cast.
Yes.
This has
Okay.
been once again episode 13. And
Shout out to Cambria for switching. We had a 7-year-old switching the cameras today, and she
Eh,
rocked it.
and shout out
Yes, she
to
did.
all you listeners out there, Freddie and Jordan.
Yep.
Thanks for replying to us.
Thanks, guys. All right, let's
Cool
do an
beans.
open.
Okay.
I'm gonna go talk to camera real quick, and then I'll let that roll. And let her roll.
All right. What are you thinking?
Uh,
I talked a lot that show.
you
I'm
did.
sorry.
That should actually be called the Jeff Show. I feel like title of
On
the
this episode, Jeff talks a ton.
Everyone got sunburned. Rachel did not get an invite.
Dude, now I feel bad.
Dude, I'm kidding. I wouldn't. I don't want to go hang out with a bunch of families, anyways.
On today's show.